Good morning. Denise Dryden here on Bainbridge Island, enjoying a nice peaceful Sunday morning. It's Father's Day, and I thought we would talk about deepening fatherhood. What does fatherhood mean, and what's going on in our culture, and what kind of things can we look at to address this? And before I get started, I wanted to share with you that behind me is a cedar tree that rumor has it is one of the largest cedar trees on Bainbridge Island. This thing is massive, and they call it the father of the island. And so, moving my furniture around so I could sit down and do this today, I wanted to make sure that you could see just the immense size and strength of this beautiful cedar tree behind me. So, enjoy it. And then over here is the Salish Sea, so I'm right on the sound. Father. Let's talk about fathers. Last night I sat at a concert and enjoyed an evening with two women, and we sort of threw some discussion questions around, and one of the ones that came up was, it's Father's Day tomorrow. What's your relationship, or what do you think about your dad? What comes up for you? And we each had our own stories, and we each had our sort of compassions about what it was like growing up with our dads. And we also, we could see their wounds. We could see what their struggles were. And we spoke a lot to that. And it was nice to have that dovetail into this topic today. So the father is the male representation in our lives. It's the first earliest imprint we have, is this is what a male does, looks like, and is. And most of us have a father figure, some of us don't, and if we don't, we attach it to uncles, to grandparents, to anyone else that can fulfill that male role. So I'm going to speak specifically to the father, but I don't want to short out any other male who's also in the position of leadership within a family system or within that representation for a young soul growing up. I want to talk about the fact that I'm going to divide some things. So we have male and we have female, and they're both the physical body that we inhabit, our gender. Okay, so we can come into a body and we can be male or we can be female. We have the parts for a male, we have the parts for a female. Separate from that, we have, so that's the physical. Separate from that, we have this energetic composition of masculine or feminine. Masculine is an energy of structure and logic and assertiveness. I'm reading my list. Power, control, aggressiveness, or aggressive. It can go do what they need to do. An act of creativity. Basically, the masculine energy is the mind, and it is knowledge. It means how to bring things in, capture them, and reproduce them so that they can be passed down. So that's the masculine energy that can inhabit any of us. The feminine energy is creativity, receptivity, responsiveness, that ability to move and flow with what's going on. It's intuition, it's compassion, it's gentleness, it's transformation, it's nurturance. It is at its very core the heart and wisdom. And wisdom is deep. It's remembering things. It's bringing emotions and knowledge together. So wisdom and knowledge are so valuable, and they are in separate energies, right? So what happens is we have a composition of whatever gender we are, we have a composition of masculine and feminine within us. And, we can be raised in an all masculine world, and we can be raised in an all feminine world. What I wanted to do was just go over the fact that in the last 2,000 years, we've been really underneath a patriarchal banner, which means that, when we started this Christendom, this Judeo-Christian historical reference, when we started this 2,000 lineage of the Piscean Age, it was all about the patriarch. It was about the one man to lead, the king, the monarchies. It was creating structures, institutions, forms, churches, governments, all these kinds of systems, sewer systems, hospital care systems, all of that. That's knowledge, the mind, creating something, making it from nothing and providing structure that will last, like this big tree behind me. That's the masculine energy. So for the last 2,000 years, we've been building industries of knowledge. We've been focusing on the masculine energy. And to top that off, when we look at our culture right now, we're looking at, in the 1800s, we went through this massive structure building of industrialization, expansion over the United States, expansion and development in Europe in factories and in production. Then we went through Depression, World War II, and then we went through this post-World War II modernization, like, huge technology and growth. So these are all masculine. So we've been, tipping into the masculine for centuries. So why does that historical little piece have anything to do with fatherhood? Well, I have so much compassion for the current modern day fathers, because they've been raised in these 2,000 years, last two huge centuries of promoting the masculine, making the masculine in charge. And for all of us who've been taught that masculine energy is more important than feminine energy. And so what we have is that men who know how to raise families, they know how to be the protectors, they know how to work, they know how to produce. However, it's almost like the men are leading this stinted feminine, and the women are leading in this stinted feminine. So our entire culture has swung over to valuing knowledge, technology, industry, structure, and we've forgotten about the feminine. So the reason the feminine is important is that as we get further away from compassion, nurturing, receptivity, the softer healing sides of feminine, we increase in trauma. We increase in horrific events, shootings, rapes, attacks, war, all of these things that are very masculine. And we see a rise in the family system in divorce. We see children who are being bullied at school. We have so many symptoms that are saying we've made it all the way over here to the far edge of production. Now we need to move over and bring the feelings, the receptivity, the responsiveness, the nurturing, and the wisdom back into the flow. Now, I coach parents, and a lot of times I'm coaching the dad and the mom. Actually, I thought it was just the dad, but it's the dad and the mom. And I'm moving them over into understanding the value of having a feminine energy in the relationship with their child. Because what I know is most of these young children, especially children who are sensitives and empaths, have a really big feminine side to them. And we have parents who are over here. So now our job is to move them over here. And these parents are estranged. Their fathers are estranged from their kids because they haven't been taught how to own our emotions in our family settings, with our partners, with our children. And I think that estrangement is really something that's happened predominantly with the men in our culture. So I posted an article on this Facebook page from it was on actually Good Science from Berkeley. Is it still Father's Day if your kids won't talk to you? So please read that and look at it, and look at the role of estrangement. It's been a big issue in the last couple of years, and something I want to keep bringing on the forefront. So estrangement is no longer close or affectionate to someone. It's the loss of a relationship. It's emotional distancing. It means when you shut down emotionally, you shut down on distance, and there's communication maybe, but it's got strings of hurt in it. All the hurts and betrayals are buried under a lack of tools and skills and courage to navigate. Kind of like that can of Coke one that I did last week, where if you shake it up, you're just like, oh, it's going to be bad. I'm not going to open that. So this fatherhood pain is that something happens, whether it is arguing with a partner, or not knowing what to do when children disobey or don't do what they were supposed to do in your world. You know, they don't follow the track that you did, that you thought was important, that you really needed. It's really interesting. So what happens is fathers get all these hurts inside. And then over the years, they shut down and they shut down and they shut down. And they lose their connection with their spouse. They lose their connection with their children. And they, with this distancing and this disconnection, it's, you know, it's rising this percentage of divorce. And unfortunately, children and women will go where they can confide and work on the emotional wounds that come with separating a family. It's a really interesting pattern when we start to look at it from the position of an overactive masculine energy and the real need for emotional connection. Now, I'm not talking about men becoming all ooey gooey. What I'm talking about is how to become firm and available and to be able to hold when your child is in pain, and then to be able to offer all of those magnificent things that we talked about here, which is how to be logical and provide structure to the conversation, and how to use, you know, logic and come up with ideas that might help. But what we forget is that has to be partnered with nurturing. It has to be partnered with some of the responsiveness and receptiveness, which is inside of you anyway. We just need to awaken it. So I'd be the first to say that I have been overly masculine in my life. I am an athlete. I am an entrepreneur. I am a tall, bossy woman, right? And so for me, what I wanted to share was, these are some of the things that I learned and how to bring my feminine forward and to bring it into balance so that I could be more receptive and open in my coaching. So the first thing I came up with is to listen. And then when you think you've listened enough, listen more. And listen with your whole body. Listen with your eyes. Listen with your chest. Listen with your face and your skin, and just listen and ask questions about them. Don't tell them what you think. Ask questions. So when you went out on that paddleboard today, what was that like? And tell me more. And so you just keep asking them to tell you about themselves. Let them share their complaints about you with you. You know, hey, I know we're having a problem here. What do you think that's about? I'm going to sit here and listen to you. And then resist the attempt to come in and try to fix it, come in and put the wall up, come in and try to squelch it because it hurts. Just let it come in and then find a kernel of truth. There's got to be truth in everything that happens. So find that kernel of truth, which is ultimately, my child's really upset with me because they miss me. They want more time. Find out what that kernel of truth is, because that kernel is going to be sort of like your gateway to open up into something more. Speak to that kernel. This is what oh wow, out of everything that you said, this is what I think you're trying to say to me. So own it. Own it. Oh, yeah, that kernel is accurate. It's true. I can imagine that you could feel that way. This isn't ooey gooey. This is just saying, oh, wow, there's a kernel of truth in there, and I'm going to hold this. And then, you know, make sure that you refuse to match the energy. If a child is hurt and angry, they're going to flail at you. They're going to swear at you. They're going to stomp around and posture. Don't match that and try to squash it. Calm down. That's what feminine is. Calm down. Responsiveness. Let it flow through you. Let it flow around you. And let's just watch how much hurt is inside this child when they're talking to you. You know, sort of stop your protection patterns and don't get aggressive when they get aggressive, verbally. I mean, you know, I think we understand that when what we're talking about is try not to get angry and start yelling back. Ask them what they need from you so that things could be different. Don't make any promises. Don't tell them, I get it and I'm going to change today. Just say, what can we do? What can I do that can make things different and we can start in a different direction? Breathe. Oh my God, breathe. Breathe a lot. Become curious. Be wise. Pace yourself. Breathe. Get curious. Be wise. Resist the urge to fix it. You can't put a lid on this one and make it go away. Listen to your child. Listen to your partner. Listen to the people at work and find out what is the real big issue. So again, being masculine is like the edge of a swimming pool. It's like being firm and solid. It's not going anywhere. And it's also inviting and it's receptive. Here, come hold on to me if you're scared about the water. Come lean on me if you're tired. If you get scared out in the water, come over to me. I'm here. But I'm very solid. I'm structure. I'm logic. And I will listen to you and I will help. So I hope that helps you on this Father's Day. And this is the kind of stuff I do. So if you're interested, let me know. You can find me on DeniseDrydenCoaching.com and have a wonderful Sunday and a wonderful Father's Day. Take care. Bye-bye.